Hey y'all, it's Jenni Moseley
and Dr. Ryan Reeves.
And we are here live with the Elevate Effect. It's time to take the dental field to a whole nother level. Fly with me, folks. Let's get real and let's get uncomfortable. So here's the thing, Reeves. Uncomfortable conversation, but I think everyone's going through it now because there's a COVID excuse. There is generation excuse, but it's just not easy to find partners in the dental room and as an assistant. And, I think it would be, comforting to have a lot of people here that we are going through the same thing. It's as I keep telling the team, only the strong survive. We truly seem to have a struggle as well. And how do we keep going? And how do we keep thriving no matter what?
I think commitment. Why did that stick in my throat?
Commitment to
the process and to each other. To have the conversations that we have, the way we have them, is only possible when you're truly committed to something with somebody.
Right.
And that's rare in life.
I mean, true. It's like, I don't think anybody in this building besides you and I truly deep down, and I'm sure they are okay to hear this, see that this place is going to be a part of my soul till I'm dead.
Yeah, I think that's more than you can ask anybody, right?
So step down from that. How do you find somebody, because we've struggled the same way, we call it the revolving door, but what's, I don't know if you guys out there, but we are a place that provides, we put people through school. We put people through health changes. We put people, we fly people down. We change their location. We pay for apartments. And yet we get people that leave and are just with spew about us. It's crazy talk. So I don't know what you all out there are experiencing, but man, has it been real difficult to do this and find the right person. For you, Reeves, what is the criteria that you're looking for that you feel is hard for us to find?
Well, I just think about sharpening iron, right? You can't sharpen iron with paper or like butter or whatever, right?
What to use iron?
Something that can't be broken.
So let's talk about that. Like, people say to us, well, yeah, but times change. How are you changing around it?
I think that's a huge part of my problem is I just deal with all the things that are wrong until I can't anymore. And then it's just, there's no governor on my tone.
Well, what's interesting though, is I don't think people recognize we have changed. We have shut the practice down more. We've given more time. We've lessened a lot of the systems. We have changed. That's how much to me of the legacy that this place is that when people come in, they're seeing at a level that's 5 steps down from where it was, that's still hard for them.
Yeah.
And so I think our expectations are at the 10, they're coming in at the 5, and we're not even getting a 5, we're getting a 1. So we're looking from 10 to 1 and they're looking from 5 to 1. And so.
Well, that's a good point. You have you've got a lot more experience with what it was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago per se versus 6 for me. And I saw some of it, but even that was different than it was back when you were really brought through this. And so it's got to be even harder. And I've seen you change a ton in just the time we've been together. So I think we're both, I'm so scared of losing what we have that at some point, you're like, well, if you change anymore, you're not going to have what we want, and this place won't be, and it doesn't need to be what it was, and we're okay with evolving it. In fact, it has to evolve. But at some point, man, you just got to be like, look.
Well, I mean, it's just like how how you talk to patients. It's like you can only go so far until you cut corners. We're not going to cut the corners that change who we are. But I believe that this practice, at least led by me, we're like change strategists. I feel like a lot of people look for employees by what's missing. Like, say somebody quit, then we go, okay, we better go find that position. And that's just not what we do. We're just constantly looking for quality people. And if we find a quality person, that to us is way more beneficial than trying to fill in this hole where you want to fill something that may never be there. So once you find a quality person, I mean, really, I love everybody, but you can be trained this stuff. I never went to dental assisting school. And so I went in, I shuffled papers, I cleaned toilets, and then I was standing next to a dentist and he showed me how to hold an instrument, then a 2x2. And then, then the suction. And if you got a quality person that wants longevity in a career, give him a shot. So, maybe not be so picky out there, what you're looking for. Maybe, decide to pay people a little well. Hopefully everybody these days are doing bonus. I mean, have some perks for them. But I think the hard part for us is honestly, it's been harder to find when we look for specifics than it is just quality people. But, that's what I think is a little bit more difficult for us because right now people don't want to work as much.
You think about, you run on a treadmill, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, you get on the treadmill, and you hit the up button,
Mm-hmm.
and you see, okay, well, I want to do a 7-minute mile.
Mm-hmm.
You started from 0 and you worked your way up that belt spun until you got up to speed. And then you just cruised at that speed for 7.5 minutes. And then you got your mile and you slowed it back down. I think that the challenge in our practice that we've not perfected yet is that our treadmill is already going
Right.
at a 7.5 minute a mile pace. And they have to jump on that treadmill and immediately be running
Right.
at that speed, which is, how many people can do that? A couple, right? And not everybody, but
Right.
it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that you're going to get somebody that's going to be able to do it.
Well, that's what I was talking about, change, because that's how we used to do it. I mean,
Right.
I was brought in like as a hygienist and, hey, go do this. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. But I think it's just, that's where the change comes. It's like where we have to change what we're doing because of the type of people that are coming in. They are not coming in ready to run.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they're not even walking. They're basically just putting their shoes on.
Well, when a lot of people, I think hiring in all markets is difficult. And talking to friends in other businesses, I was talking to this one guy last week, and I was asking him how his business. He started a trash compacting business. He does that for construction companies and other companies so that they don't have to dump as many times. And I was like, well, how's it going? And he was kind of explaining what he's been going through, and what he mentioned was these other companies that don't exist in Savannah. They exist in other parts of the country, and what their model's been. And what a lot of them, he said, when he talked to them about starting this business in Savannah was, ooh, that's a tough market. And he's thinking, okay, what's so tough about it? What do I need to kind of be aware of?
Mm-hmm.
And the common theme that everybody said was, well, the labor force is just a real challenge to get. Now he needs drivers as that example. Okay. So now drivers are difficult to find in trucking. That's a big thing. That's a very common problem, especially
A lot
lately.
of those people want to be independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point being, I know everybody's location. It's always difficult. It's always been difficult to find good people because you think about, again, where are these people coming from, right? We're typically
don't have a job for a reason.
Right. or that because we're doing dental things, but a lot of what we ask people to do is non-dental, which is something I struggle with a lot. And that's where I think, again, you help me with that tremendously. but we're asking them to do dental things, which aren't the problem. Typically, it's everything else on top of a really heavy load, and that's just really overwhelming. And then you look at, I mean, again, the kind of, most of us are from somewhere else, right? And that's kind of interesting. You and I have talked about that before. And I'm not saying you have to hire from somewhere else. I'm just saying that's something that we've found to be more successful for us, which was whether it's hiring outside of the field, which has happened and it's been great.
I took our concierge from a doggy daycare.
Right. And so, anyway, that's, and we have other colleagues and people that you train and work with that have had similar results, where you've taken somebody that's not in the field, and have helped them grow into a position where they are now, it is a career for them, and that can be really rewarding. And almost, if you can make that happen, it's almost better, because they don't have that brain damage.
Heck yeah. I mean,
like I have. And
well,
like
the problem though with the practice is that you have to be patient with them. So you bring these people in, and then you forget, because they were awesome in the resume, they were awesome in the interview. You bring them in on the practice, they're not awesome anymore because they don't know dentistry. But don't forget, they were awesome outside. And so then they get impatient, and all of a sudden then they don't give them a chance. And I'll be honest, most of the non-dental people are more successful.
Yeah.
This goes back to, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about that 80-20 rule, how we try to sit in that. And, when somebody comes in here, like I said, that mindset is very hard to get used to. And so, we want them to sit in this 20%, which is planning and relationship building. And typically in the dental field, those two things don't even happen. So right away off the mark, they're uncomfortable. But that's where we sit, the 20%, because we want the 80% results. Mm-hmm. And so right away, we're talking about, hey, you got to sit down and talk to these people. What? I don't want to talk to anybody. And then we're like, hey, and by the way, you have a whole day to plan. Like, screw you. I'd rather be at the beach. If I'm not going to touch people's mouths, what's the point? So it's like getting somebody. So again, trying to interview differently, trying to, intrigue differently. Just got to remember, what's your vision? Keep your vision. Don't necessarily try to fill the hole that's now available. Fill the vision. It will work better. I think that's truly what I learned this past round.
That was very succinctly said.
Boom.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. We love feedback, so throw it at us.
Yeah, really. Thanks for flying, folks. We'll see you next week.